Hi there, I thought I'd do a tutorial on how to make a lime cheesecake. There's lots of recipes out there, but this is my own. I've tweaked it to how I like it. So please don't contact me saying this is not the way Delia does it, because it isn't. It's how I do it. So what you'll need is a spring-formed tin, or any tin will do, but this one releases like so. Okay, obviously you'll need limes. I've got 3 limes here, ripe. Make sure they're ripe because you can get a lovely zest from the lime. I've also got 1 lemon. Now, it's strange, but in order to make a really intense lime flavoured cheesecake, lemon, or using a lemon, seems to enhance the lime flavour, if you understand. So you'll need 1 lemon and 3 limes. You'll need some icing sugar to sweeten it slightly. You'll need some full fat soft cheese, and I'll emphasise full fat. You can't use low fat products. It will just go runny. If you're on a diet, I'm sorry, this one isn't for you. But I'm sure there's a salad waiting in the refrigerator for you. You'll need some whipping cream. This one is in liquid form, and you beat it and you whip it up. You can use double cream, but it takes ages for me to whip it, so I just use the whipping cream, whip it up, and it's done in a matter of a minute or so. And you'll need, for the base, biscuits. Now you can use digestives, but I'm using, for this recipe, ginger biscuits, and this is a 300-gram packet, and I'll use them all. I just think ginger and lime work really well, so please give this a go. If you've got no ginger biscuits in and you've only got digestives, then that's fine, but really, give the ginger biscuits a go. It works so well with this recipe. So I'm going to get ready to set up now, and I'll be right back. Okay. I've put the 300 grams of ginger biscuits into a food processor. You can use a bag and a rolling pin to crush the biscuits, but I use that for quickness really. So 300 grams of ginger snaps, and I melted 150 grams of butter in with the biscuits, and then we're ready to fill the base with the ginger biscuit crumb. So I'm going to add all of the biscuits now, like so, and I'm using just a metal spoon. This is quite warm, but you're just pushing it down firmly. Now you can use less base than I do, but I love my proportion of biscuit to the ratio of cream cheese cheesecake. So you can use less, but I'm very much okay. I'm very much, well, I've got to have a nice base. Now press this down. It's still warm, so it will set. It will take its shape. Now you can use your fingers, but for a more level base, just use the back of the spoon to firm the biscuits in to place. This will have to cool. You can't add or even start preparing the cream cheese mixture until this is completely cool, because if you apply the cheesecake mixture onto a warm biscuit base, it will melt. So what I tend to do is, now that's perfectly smooth, and the reason I compact it down, another reason, is because when it is chilled overnight or for a few hours, and you do go to cut it, it doesn't fall apart. It keeps the base like a pie. So that's why I'm using the spoon. So now that I'm happy with the level and that it's flat, I will cover the tin with cling film and I'll place in the refrigerator. Now, depending on the type of fridge you've got will depend on how quick it will take to firm up and cool. But I reckon about an hour, to be honest. But if you're not sure, just leave it for a couple of hours before you start the filling. So I'm going to set up now for the filling and I'll be right back. Now while the base is cooling in the fridge, you will need the zest and juice of the 3 limes and the lemon. Now you can use a little tool like this, or sometimes on a cheese grater you've got the smaller perforations that are ideal. But I got this little tool off my father-in-law and it's great, and I'll just show you. You just run it down and it doesn't take the pith. Take the pith. Because that can be very bitter. It just takes the zest from the lime or the lemon. But you will need the zest of all 3 and the lemon too. So grate them away, and I'm going to do that now, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've poured the whipping cream into my infamous bowl. You'll need about 150 millilitres. The reason you don't use the whole carton is because I don't use gelatin for this recipe. Some recipes have gelatin in them and that thickens the cheesecake, but this isn't. This is more natural, and it's a lot more fresh than the more solid cheesecakes. It will go firm, don't worry, but if you put too much whipped cream in, it will be a lot softer. So 150 mils of whipping cream, and this is the noisy bit. I'm going to whip this up, so sorry about this. It shouldn't take long. I'll put it on to full speed. Okay, it's thick enough. Don't over whisk or it will split. A thick consistency, because as I say, there's no gelatin in this recipe, so you need it to be firm. And then you add the cream cheese. And as if by magic, I've added the cream cheese. Now, it's 250 gram tubs, or 500 grams in total, of full fat cheese. And I'm going to mix this through with the whisk. A couple of minutes. Low speed to start with. Crank it up. And crank it up again. I shouldn't have actually said a couple of minutes, it's a couple of seconds really. And there's your cheesecake mixture in the early stages. Now at this point I'm going to add the the zest. Sorry, no, not the zest. Oh, please don't. The juice of the 3 limes and the juice of the lemon. The reason why I don't add the zest is if you do have to go back in with the mixer, all the zest clings to this and doesn't actually go in to the cheesecake. Believe me, I've done it. So I'm going to add the juice now, and I'll be right back. I thought I'd come back in at this point actually. I've incorporated some of the lime juice and some of the lemon juice, but here's a little trick. Sometimes when you get the lime, it's hard to get the lime juice out, but a little quick trick is give it a roll, okay, before you, and then cut it, and then add juice. Now a lot of people have little tools not to get any stones in, but I just use my hand. Anything that is going to fall will fall onto my hand and not into the cheesecake. Again, squeezing the other, and there you have the juice. And again, a little bit of a lemon. You're more likely to get a stone from the lemon, so just be a bit more careful here. And I'm just going to do that much for now. I've already put, oh there's one, I've already put the other half in, and I'm going to mix this round. So it looks a lot of liquid and you're thinking, uh-oh, what's happened here? This is not going to set. Trust me, it does. It does. So I'm just folding that through, and just to quicken it up, because you're here, I'll just put the mixer on. Crank it up. And as you've whisked it, it seems to bring itself back to its original state, like before you added the juice. Now it's going to be very bitter at this point, so it's now time to add the icing sugar. This is the stage that I'm always reluctant to give people exact quantities. It should take around 150 grams of icing sugar. Okay, but that depends on how sour the lemons are, how sour your limes are. So what I always tend to do is add half, mix it through, and then taste. If it needs more, add more. And everyone has their own idea of sweetness or sourness. So 150 grams should be okay if you've got very sour fruit. But if you haven't, I would suggest just adding half first and then gradually adding the rest until you're happy. Remember, you've got a very sweet base, so you don't need to overload it with sugar. You can use caster sugar, but icing sugar dissolves and it's a smoother texture. So I'm going to start adding some icing sugar. Okay, and to be honest with you, less is always more in the long run. So I've added some with my other spoon that I've been using. I'm just going to fold that through because I don't want it exploding when I use the whisk. And whisk it through. Okay, and the only way to judge this is basically by taste. So you're going to have to taste it. So I put a little bit on a teaspoon. It needs more sugar for me. So I'm going to play around now, adding a little bit more sugar, adding a little bit more lemon juice, etc. until I'm happy with the taste. I've mixed it through. It was round about 150 grams of icing sugar anyway, but as I say, it's best to be safe than sorry, especially when you've got all the way through this process, is to just add half of the icing sugar and then gradually, half of the 150 grams I should say, and then gradually add the remaining until you're happy, and keep tasting. It's important to taste. So I'm just going to fold this through one last time before I add my zest. Now please, at this point, don't add your mixer to it, because if you put the zest of the lime and lemon in and then put the whisk in, it will just cling to every rail of the mixing paddle. So just please, just don't do it. So I'm going to add the lime and lemon zest that I did earlier. Now keep a little bit back for the topping. The base is cool, so it's not going to melt when I add the cheesecake mixture to the base. So I'm going to add my zest, and I sprinkle it in so it's evenly distributed in the first place. And isn't that pretty? What a pretty colour. Wow, gorgeous. So I'm going to fold the zest through, okay, making sure it's incorporated throughout the mixture and not just in one big clump. And because you usually make this in advance prior to eating it, the zest seems to add a fragrance overnight. It's hard to describe, but you'll understand when you've made it yourself. So I'm happy that that is incorporated. Now I'm ready to add it to the ginger biscuit base. So move this forward. Now this has been in the fridge a couple of hours, and I put some cling film or cling wrap over just to double check that, yeah, that's fine, nice and chilled. And now we're ready to add the cheesecake mixture. Okay, so I'm sorry if I'm in your way. So dropping it in, okay, making sure waste not, want not. I always try and get every scrap out. I watch these cooking programs and they just put half of the mixture in and they leave it all in the bowl. I'm like, come on, get that cheesecake mixture in there. Come on, that's gorgeous. You're wasting it. Oh dear. But anyway, I've got most of it out, and I'll even use my finger to get every little drop. Now, excuse me, I have to have a taste. Oh, it's lovely. So I'm going to use my spoon, but just the back of the spoon, to even it out. Okay, to start with. Not pressing too hard, but firm enough that it flattens, and then going around the edge, going around the edge, going around the edge. Okay, because you want this to look as professional as possible. Oh dear. So I'm happy with that. And it's level. That's the important bit, because it's not fair if you cut into this and you give yourself a piece and your best friend a slice, and theirs is absolutely huge and yours is a tiny slither. That's just not fair. So just make sure it's smoothed out. Now you can use a small spatula like this one, and I do sometimes, just to give it a more professional feel. Rubbing the excess off on my fingers. I'm going to have to eat that. Oh dear, what a shame. Perks of the job. I've made it. Okay, and as you can see, it looks quite professional. Okay, in fact, It looks very professional and very smooth. Can I eat that now? Thank you, yes. Okay, and that will then go into the fridge, but before it does, the remaining zest that you left and kept behind can be sprinkled on the top. Now, I don't put a lot on. I only put a little bit on. Simply because I like it inside. Oh, yeah. Okay. And there you have it. A lime cheesecake with a ginger biscuit base. And it does have lemon in it, but that only heightens the flavour of the lime. And the ginger biscuits go yummily well with the cheesecake mixture. Absolutely. Please try it. There'll be more tutorials coming soon. This is going to go in the fridge. Best to keep it in overnight, or for at least 6 hours. I'll put some cling film over that. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more tutorials. Bye! Okay, my daughter has demanded that I cut this. So what I've done is, because it's a springform tin, I've put it on a bowl, snapped open the release and pushed down, and that allows you to pick it up like this. So I'm going to cut it for you and show you. Now this has been chilling for I'd say only 5 hours. It is best overnight, but my daughter's demanding a slice, so here we go. So I'm going to cut through, but before I do, as you can see, I like a deep base. Some people don't, but I do. So I'm going to cut this for her. You just get a sharp knife and press down like so. You will get some residue, you're bound to, but hopefully this will come out in one piece. Oh dear, pressure's on. So with the same knife, I'm going in and lift. Perfection. And there you go. And obviously this isn't a generous slice, it's just for my daughter because she's hungry. But as you can see, it's level all the way through. The cream cheese or the cheesecake is the same depth here as it is here, and the biscuit base is level too, which proves that I can do some things right. So here's the cheesecake. There will be more tutorials, and I'm off to deliver this because she's hungry. Bye!